This is Hardev Sinotra from INS, Indian News Agency. If so far, so many days and for so many months, nothing has emerged. At the last minute, how can you expect a KP2 and a Green Fund to emerge out of this discussion? And isn't Durban a failure in that sense?
Sometimes I envy people in your profession. Because we can just watch people working very, very hard for more than 12 months, if not for more than 17 years, and you said you've achieved nothing. Anyway, from the last question from India, there's no last-minute discussion that started at last minute. What we're dealing with here is because this is an open, inclusive process that works for maintenance of multilateral rule-based system of the UN to work on issues around the climate change under the UNFCCC. All countries, big and small, need to be listened to. When discussions started, of course, from where they started, as early as immediately after Cancun, which is just the next steps that we're trying to build. We've had areas of divergence, which is very, very normal in UNFCCC process in a democratic manner. In fact, when we were in Bangkok in April, parties or negotiators couldn't even agree on the draft agenda. We've managed to move on in an open, inclusive, and transparent manner that by the time we reached Panama, we began seeing areas of convergence. Now, since our arrival in Durban, we've been thrashing out the issues, starting with negotiators focusing on the technical issues and the not so difficult political issues. I think we've made a lot of progress because from where we are sitting, we're able to pick 2-3 issues remaining that need focus of the ministers, but still very much in the spirit of openness, of frankness, that's what is happening at the moment. And that's why we are able to sit with you here and say the issues that are being focused upon now are the following, and they're the ones that I've listed. On the discussions or the question raised from Bloomberg, I've said earlier on that the focus at the moment is whether we are working or can achieve convergence on, as we adopt, I want to repeat, as we adopt second commitment of Kyoto Protocol, are we able to work together to work for the future, that we work on the future processes for a future framework? That's where the discussions are at the moment. I have not had any party linking the discussions of the future process and the second communion period to the GCF. That's why I've said earlier on that because parties want the Green Climate Fund to be launched here in Durban, what is being looked at now at the stage is the long-term finance, so that we do not end up launching an empty shell. But I must hasten to say that there are countries who are already lifting their flags and committing to pledges as soon as we gavel on the decision of the Green Climate Fund. I've said all groups, including BASIC, are discussing both. There's consensus that we need to discuss the future. What we are dealing with now is the how. And the language, it's not my preoccupation where I'm sitting at the moment. What is critical is that if we all agree that we need to work on how we launch the future and the process thereof, what steps need to be taken between now and 2013, 2015, when we receive the report of the IPCC, and what then happens between 2015 and 2020. These are some of the elements of the steps that are being looked upon by all groups, including BASIC. Are we working slower than previously expected? My answer is no, 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 because we have been engaged, and that's why we worked until 4:15 a.m. in the morning, to give parties enough time in a transparent, open and frank manner, so that nobody comes out of here and say there was an outcome or a text that was drafted in some corner where I did not know. So at the moment, since we started this conference, as we had made an undertaking, we have been running this session of the UNFCCC in that manner. And parties are highly appreciative of that. It's taking a bit longer, but we think that way it's better because parties are still very much owning their own processes, and they are also owning whichever step that we continue to make or take up to this day. Thank you.
All right. I don't think we've got time to take more questions. Hopefully, there will be another opportunity to give you an update. If not this evening, tomorrow morning. Thank you very much for coming.
May I have your attention, please? The U.S. press conference that was supposed to take place at 2:30 has been rescheduled until further notice. Thank you.